All right, welcome everyone to the Couples Cruise to Transformation. Tonight we are talking finances and the impact that those have on relationships. And the intention of the cruise again is to have the Couples Cruise to Transformation is designed to have participants create conversations that create relatedness, possibility, and opportunity to take actions that cause an environment of love, respect, and connectedness. As a result, participants will learn and practice the distinctions collected from a variety of sources, leaving both partners with the satisfaction of having made a massive contribution to their relationship while exploring and creating a new future. And it will be fun. All right, welcome everyone here to, let me stop my share. There we go. All right, so today we are focusing on the finance circle from the one thing. And so for quick reference, if you want more information on that, go back to week 1 video where we talked about the 7 circles of the one thing and all of the areas in your life that we can apply one thing or one action that will produce 80% of the results, such that everything else will become unnecessary or simply easier. And so we've explored communication and some other personal needs and things inside of those circles. Tonight is finances. So statistically, 41% of couples argue about money, and 86% of couples start out in debt. And so we're going to take a quick look here at a video. I'm pretty sure it's this one. I forget which one exactly it is, but I'm going to share again. And it's going to put a little bit of statistics and backdrop in here for us. So bear with me as I get this optimized for video clips. And I share my sound. There we go. All right.
Follow a systematic process to help you pursue your financial goals. Here's how our process works. First, we work with you to identify your goals and objectives.
That is not the right one.
Help you prioritize.
Is this one? Okay, so that gave a little bit of background on what the issues are that people face. And I'd like to just get a quick check-in, Kimberly and Steve. Was there anything in there statistically that you were surprised by?
No, I'm on the 51% side.
You're on the 51, not the 49%.
No, that's surprising. Two people come into a marriage, coming from two different backgrounds, two different incomes. Spending for some is therapy. Spending for some is an addiction. Spending for some, is something that soothes them.
Perfect. Thank you. Kimberly, you got anything?
Yeah, no, I compliment everything you said, love.
Thank you.
All right, Dawn, anything jump out at you?
I'm depressed now. My ship is sinking, and I need one of those raps.
All right,
I'll
well,
play the violin.
that's all okay.
Buy a vowel.
Because we're gonna get some tips and
What
strategies and
about
things
you,
today.
Steve? Steve, what about you? Were any of the, when you first saw those statistics, were any of those surprising to you?
Not really. I mean, I know a lot of people because I've seen it on their credit reports as a realtor when they submit, their application to
Right.
rent a place. You
Right.
get to see their credit reports and all the balances that they carry around.
I
So,
forgot about.
yeah, sometimes, right? And how many times they've forgotten to pay it on time. And so I kind of have a sense of, at least what some people are doing. And, I would imagine lenders get a much better, different picture of people who are qualified to buy homes, as well as the ones who aren't. They're going to see all of it. But,
Right.
I think there's a lot of people who have a lot of credit card debt. I remember many years ago, I met a couple looking to rent a place, and they had $90,000 on credit cards.
A lot of money.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know who's going to accept your application when you have that much of a balance. So, there's definitely something to be said for keeping that under control and finding ways to take control of it. And so that's kind of what we're going to be talking about a little bit today.
No Pop-Tarts this month.
Yeah.
No
You got that?
Pop-Tarts for you.
Well, maybe not name brand Pop-Tarts.
Right. The generic ones.
Frosted toaster pastry. They can't use the trademark Pop-Tart.
Value.
Right.
Billy Bell.
Okay. So, Vicki, I'd like to bring you into the conversation as well. We've been talking about bank and how relationships can, values in relationships can impact how we communicate and how we receive information. And from that perspective, what would you see at this point inside of kind of where the bank codes play into the statistics that we just talked about or saw?
Well, it's really interesting. Thank you, Steve. So first of all, for those of you who were here last week, you might remember what we're talking about, which is bank. And inside of bank, there are 4 different personality types. They are blueprint. You can see the card is blue. And as a reminder, those people high in blueprint values tend to be a little cooler and they think inside the box. That's going to be important in this conversation today for us to realize. Then there's action. And those people who are high in action values, they think outside of the box. They tend to really like freedom, flexibility, spontaneity. And
They're the ones with 90,000 in credit card debt, right?
most likely, yes. They are willing to take big risks. Then there's the nurturing. Nurturing, those people who are high in nurturing values, they tend to take fewer risks. They're willing to take risks, but they want to look at and make sure that they're protected and that others are protected as well. And so you might remember that when we think about the box and the box analogy, they're the ones who are going to recycle the box. And then there are knowledge types. Knowledge types are going to do a lot of research and development. So they tend to be willing to take a risk, but it's an educated risk. And so when we start to talk about finances and couples who are communicating with each other, it's really important to know your spouse's values and where their values lie. And as a reminder, last week we gave you the opportunity to crack your code. And if you haven't done that, you can go to, Steve, will you just put it in the chat, crackmycode.com/Freedom Group Global. And you can go ahead and crack your code and it will provide you with a report, and you'll be able to look to see what your values share with us. Okay. And so when you're talking about finances and you're talking about all those statistics, it's not surprising to me. And especially in light of what Steve and Kimberly shared, when Steve said that you have two different people coming together of different value systems who have different ways that they've saved and earned, different habits on how they spend their money or why they spend their money. And knowing the values of your spouse can help you to identify how you can best support that person in being able to accomplish their financial goals as well. And we'll go more into that as we go throughout the day. So just a couple of things to remember as we're talking about this. Those people who are high in blueprint values tend to be risk averse. Those people high in action values tend not to be risk averse. In fact, they're going to go out there on a limb. They're more likely to spend and spend quickly and swiftly. Those people who have high in nurturing values, they're willing to spend, but they want to make sure that they're not being taken advantage of and that they're going to win. So they're about protecting themselves and others. And those people who are high in knowledge values, they're going to want to do a lot of research and development. And when something is a no-brainer, they're willing to spend their money. Okay. But today we're going to talk about how you can actually save that money and maximize what you have already. So go ahead, Steve.
All right, so a couple of additional questions to set the stage. And so most experts are going to recommend that you have an emergency fund. So my first question for you to ponder is, do you have an emergency fund? And if so, how much do you keep in there? That's our first question. We're going to come back to that. Would anyone like to share where they're at with that? And if it's too personal, that's okay too.
We can share that we have one.
Yeah, but yeah, it's my car. No, we have an emergency fund, but yeah, I don't want to share the amount, but it's enough to weather a layoff, Steve.
Okay, so you've got probably at least 6 months in there then of expenses.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is good, right? Some people have $1,000, which is better than nothing, but not going to get you very far. You know, like I think we could spend that in a day if we had some kind of emergency. So, all right. So the next question to kind of get a handle on.
Do we have one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like for Pop-Tarts?
For Pop-Tarts, yeah. We're out of Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts and mac and cheese.
Mm-hmm. All right. So the next part of the financial picture is typically going to be looking at debt. What kinds of debt do you have? Is it, what we'd consider good debt, which would be your mortgage, things like that? Or is it more of a bad debt in, credit card balances and other, revolving kinds of things? So if you have an idea of how much, that is and where it is, then you're doing pretty well. I would say there's probably a lot of people out there who have no idea. And they don't want to know.
It's a magical debit card.
Yeah. So
magic.
Right. It's not magic, Dawn. Okay. So emergency fund, debt, and then savings or investments would be the next kind of area to kind of get a temperature of where you're currently at. Are you currently saving for the future? Is that in retirement accounts like 401ks or IRAs? Do you have other things that might be more, intermediate term kinds of things?
Scratch tickets.
Kids' college. All right, Dawn brought the comedian.
You have at least 10 scratch off lottery tickets.
Right.
You're doing great.
You're investing for the future.
Well, I'm kind of on cancer knocking me out. So there, that's my plan. Yeah.
Okay, cancel.
Yeah.
Cancel.
Yeah.
Cancel.
No,
right.
no, for us, there's through my job, I have a 401k that, and there's matching, right? And then
Yeah. You max out the matching.
that's a good question. I'm gonna have to check into that. I think I do, but
Yeah, some companies will do like 6% match
Yeah,
or
I
a
know.
3% match, and I think
I'd
it's
like to
really
say
good.
yeah, but I gotta confirm that. That's a good thing to look into. Thank you
Yeah,
for bringing that
because
up.
it's basically free money.
Yeah.
If you're doing 3% of your paycheck and they match up to 6,
Mhm.
you're leaving money on the table. So
Yeah, that's not me, but I should verify because I don't remember. I
Yeah.
said it like 2 years ago when I started.
got it. Okay. I mean, the whole point of this conversation is to kind of shine a light into places and have you look at, okay, am I maxing that out appropriately, or do we need to make an adjustment? And kind of look at all of those things. So the last big thing that most people have is either their rent payment or a mortgage. I think most people would prefer to have a mortgage versus a rent payment, so long as they're planning to be in one place for a while. And it's important to know how much is left on your mortgage in both dollars and time. So if you have a 30-year or a 15-year, and I know personally how much every payment goes towards the principal. And I kind of keep track of that because I like to see more principal going every month towards, every part of that payment, more going towards the principal every month. Because I know I'm paying it down faster and faster every month. We're getting closer and closer. So those would be kind of the key points to look at. And so if you've got a handle on that, good for you. If not, especially for everybody watching the recording, I would say, pause it right now and kind of jot those things down. Where's your debt at? How much do you have saved? How much is in retirement or investment accounts, and how much is on your mortgage, and how long do you have to go? Because those are all kind of key things. So going into some of the things that can happen in conversations between spouses or partners. You might be having disagreements about spending, even though you're doing fine financially. People can have emotional outbursts that shut down the conversation and has communication dissolve. It could just be that you have different goals or risk tolerances to spending and saving. So I know personally, I'm a little more risk taking than Dawn is, and sometimes she freaks out if she thinks we're spending too much money.
Like stop scratch tickets.
Yeah, right.
So Steve, just for the purposes of the examples that we'll be using in bank, can you remind everybody what your bank code is, and John, what Dawn's bank code is?
Mine is KANB.
Oh man, but you don't have the chat from the last time.
You remember yours?
I don't.
Did someone write it down? Does Steve have all our codes?
I did not write it down, and I don't remember it off the top of my head.
Our codes.
I can go look really quick if I grab my.
It's all right. You're a
So
BN or NB
NBK.
BNKA is Dawn.
BNKA is done. Thanks, Vicki.
So-
You took notes.
So yes, so Steve, so when we think about Steve's way of spending, this is where the code is really important to know all 4 aspects of the code, because Steve is high knowledge, high action, then he's nurturing and blueprint, where Dawn is blueprint, nurturing, knowledge, action. So in the example that I shared earlier, Steve is likely to spend money. KA is his second value card for the code, and K is his first. So once he's educated himself and it becomes a no-brainer, Steve's ready to buy. He'll go for it. Where Dawn is going to be a much more risk averse, and she's going to be, because she's blueprint nurturing, She wants to make sure her family's taken care of. She's going to be concerned about her own well-being, her family's well-being, her child's well-being, their education's well-being. And so it's going to take something before she says, yes, let's go ahead and spend that money. So it's important to understand the values, because knowing that, Steve could approach Dawn a little bit differently. If there's something that he wants to get, it would make sense for Dawn to be able to see what plan of attack he has. So Dawn, I want to buy a motorcycle, for example.
That was a long conversation, by the way.
Yes. So I've been thinking about buying a motorcycle, and this is how I see that we would be able to do it. If we save X amount of dollars over the course of X number of months, then we'll still have enough money to save for our children and their well-being and for our family vacation, right? So Dawn needs to see the plan. Dawn needs to see the system that Steve's putting in place. Dawn needs to be able to know that he has a plan and that her family is taken care of. And then she'll say, oh, okay, right? You're going to get what you want, but I also get what I want. Where Dawn could approach Steve and go, hey, Steve, I think it would be really great for us to take a family vacation. And I've already figured out all the numbers. And I think we're going to have a great time if we go to Disney and take the entire family. And by the way, let each kid take the kid themselves. And Steve will be like, you figured this out, Dawn? And if she says yes, and she shows him what she's planned, he's going to say, no brainer. Sure, let's do it. We've got the money. Let's go for it. Right? Because as long as it's a no brainer for him, it makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yep, makes sense.
Does that resonate for the two of you?
Yeah.
Dawn?
Vicki, it makes dollars and cents.
It does. Let's take that to the bank.
I got someone
Oh,
steal my thunder tonight. I see how it is.
So can you,
It was
can you
just right
see-
there.
it was. Good
So
job.
can you see, Steve, how you might approach your next conversation around spending money?
Yeah, have all of the steps in the plan mapped out and ready to share and show how it would work.
Yeah, and how your family is protected, right? Because remember, she's very high blueprint, so she wants to make sure that she's not taking big risks.
Mhm. All right, my second scenario for couples is that fear, mistakes and mishaps from the past are impacting your current relationship. So you might be keeping financial secrets or fear that your partner is, and you want to develop more trust. This is a financial infidelity, and 1 in 3 people who argue about money hide purchases from their partner. So if you're arguing
I
about
should
money,
have credit on her. All
that
three
was not
girls.
hidden. That was fully agreed to.
Hiding motorcycle in the garage.
Right. What's under that tarp? Nothing.
Don't open that closet.
Yeah. So, the past can come into the present and into your future. And so there are some things there to make sure that you get complete with and leave them, in the past. So, I don't know if Vicki, you got anything you want to share about that, or Kimberly and Steve, or anybody else? Hide things or not hide things, or fear that your partner is?
Well, I'll have to run the credit reports. Now, another great idea out of this seminar.
There you go.
I feel pretty
Background
confident.
check your
there's no-
wife with a
Huh?
credit report.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty confident that I think everything
Pretty confident.
reasonably probably about 95%. You never know. There might be that some 5% out there.
Well, if I've been hiding it, I've been doing it for
Great
30,
job.
32 years.
I know.
Very
I
impressive
know.
that I could get away with that for that long.
You got some like Swiss account,
Yeah.
numbered Swiss
Yeah,
account that
yeah.
I don't know about.
I'm running my own
I-
Ponzi schemes over here.
Right.
Nobody, I just keep borrowing from Peter to pay Paul.
You're pouring it into Switzerland.
Yeah.
I know, kidding
All right.
aside, I think we review the credit card bills every month. We look at the mortgage statement, every couple of months, like the principal and stuff.
We have a financial date.
Yeah, there'll be, we call it a financial date where we review all the numbers and what the spend is and review questionable
Big
charges on, whether or not, like, what's this charge for, like $300, that type of thing, right? And most, they're legit most of the time. Sometimes, something needs to be followed up on, but yeah, there's a regular communication, financial communication meeting set. So nothing's festering, or it's quick enough where we can act on it if it's like it hit our credit cards or something.
I appreciated what you said, the financial infidelity. That was really cool. I've never heard it that way before. And that's
I mean, you're cheating with money, right?
That's
like hiding things.
Yeah, that's a real thing. Yeah. So I can see why the divorce rates have so much to do with money. Because and I get it too, right? Because it does occur like an intimate violation.
Yeah, if it's pooled money, you're violating the trust.
No, I just never heard it phrased that way. That was really cool. That was awesome.
Well, thank you. I did some research and found that.
well done. Yeah, that's
really
great.
The third,
Steve, can I add something?
Yeah.
Just random. If energy is money, then, I'm just putting that in, energy's money, and hiding one's energy.
And I like too, money's a
impact of that.
resource too.
What's
Money's
on?
a resource. Money's a resource.
Right. If you're hoarding resources from your partner, they probably won't appreciate that, right? All right. Thank you, April. So the next one is oftentimes things don't feel fair financially and in the relationship, but you don't want to be disrespectful to your partner about their financial contribution. So a disparity in income or debt coming into the relationship can create issues like resentment. So, if one partner is making twice as much money as the other, or one spending twice as much money as the other, you might have some disagreements, right? And you got to be able to be upfront and talk about those things, but that is a place where people tend to have a disagreement. So that is a scenario there. And then the last one I have is couples with more debt tend to argue more about money. And if your debt is out of control, your relationship will likely suffer. And they have studies shown that debt causes anxiety, and that leads to more stress and more arguments. So, people get stressed out. They're a little less open to any kind of conversation oftentimes. So
Well, it makes me think of the quote, low tide sink ships.
Okay. Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah. All boats can float in a high tide. Low tide sink ship.
Kimberly, would you repeat that?
Oh, crap.
Low
tide sink ships. All ships can float in high tides.
Right. I've heard it. Rising tides raise all boats, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So everybody can go together. So, all right. So another statistic that I found is that couples in healthy marriages are twice as likely to discuss their money dreams together than couples that are okay or in trouble. So I think that makes perfect sense. If you're upfront and honest about money and what you want to accomplish, you're just going to be closer, right? You're going to have more transparency and less resentments and suspicions and all the other things that we just kind of touched on. So 54% of those in the healthy marriages also discuss money daily or weekly with their partner, versus only 29% of people who were in just okay or troubled relationships. So some of the things that you can do to kind of work on this before you actually even get into the money things is to practice empathy. Take a deep breath and come to the conversation with love and tolerance. If your partner hasn't been upfront in the past, this could be a hard conversation. But if you bring forgiveness and compassion, you're going to get a lot farther than bringing blame and ridicule or disgust, right?
And
And your
that's
partner.
where the values, knowing the values, right, is going to make
Mhm.
a difference. So knowing not to leave your partner in that state of mind,
Right.
and choosing to speak with them inside of their values rather than inside of your point of view.
Right.
You know what I'm wondering, Vicki, is there a way to do like matchmaking on bank coding? Do you know what I mean? Like matching up the codes that, am I making sense?
Yeah, well, Dawn, there are 24 codes in all because there
Okay.
there are 4 different personality types. So there's a total of 24 codes. So you're gonna interact differently based on your code. And
Got it.
even if you and I have the exact same code, we may interact a little bit differently based on
Interesting.
how much higher. I might be very, very high action, very high nurturing. You might be high action and lower nurturing.
Okay.
The action values. Yeah.
Got it.
I
Yeah.
can tell you, I wouldn't want to date me.
Who would a high action? Because you're risk averse, Blueprint.
Blueprint first. Yeah. High action.
Cool. Thanks, inside of that empathy, your partner is probably aware of the things that they're doing and they're hiding, and they might just be embarrassed or fearful or angry about something. And what we like to create is that the past is done with, and whatever happened in the past is in the past, and let's move forward from here and create something new. And so I see a perfect opportunity to talk a little bit about the Landmark Forum, which I think most everyone who is currently here today has experienced. And what the Landmark Forum essentially does is it allows you to go back and look at your life and events that had you decide that you had to be a certain way to protect yourself. And it shines a light into the places that you might not even see are there, that kind of influence what you do and how you think. And it allows you to get complete with that and leave that in the past, because the past can show up in your present and into your future. And we want to leave it there in the past and be able to create new possibilities and new opportunities without all of that baggage coming along. So the Landmark Forum would be a great place if you're struggling with leaving things in the past to take a look and see what you could get for yourself and your partner there. And so there are introductions to the Landmark Forum at pretty regular intervals. And we'd love to help you get started with that if you have any questions. So if anybody here hasn't done that, it is a fantastic program.
What if your life is okay, Steve?
I mean, you could be satisfied with okay, or you could go for greatness, right? I think I've heard this from someone on this call a few times. Life is like a mountain climb, and there's no top, right? You're climbing, you're getting better, and there's never a top, because you can always do something else, right? You can create something new. You can keep doing it better and better, whatever that looks like for you. So that was Kimberly, by the way. I'll give her full credit.
No
Hey,
top to the mountain of.
Hey, Steve,
X.
in case the people that are watching the recording they're just like so enrolled by you, which I am. If I hadn't
Why
already
wouldn't
done-
you be, right?
Right. If I hadn't already done the forum, and I'd be like, where do I register? how about if you put the link in the chat for the people that are watching the recording, or did you want them to contact
I'll
you
probably
directly?
put that like bam up here with a text
Cool,
thing,
okay.
and then
All right.
into the comments where I post it, I can drop
Awesome.
that in there
All
too.
right.
But yeah,
Put it
it's
on a rolling banner right across the
Yeah.
top.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Landmarkworldwide.com would be where you would go to learn more, or reach out to us through the magicmoneyandleverage.com website. You can contact us, and we'll help you with that. All right. So if you can keep the past in the past, then you're ready to start a conversation and create something new. And I would recommend to take small steps. If you try to eat it all at once, like an elephant, you will choke on it and things will probably not go very well. But if you take little bites here and a little bites there and you work together, then you'll be able to eventually get through everything that you want to accomplish. I would also highly recommend you do it together. I think it's important for both partners to understand and to learn how to work together to create and accomplish their financial goals. It doesn't really make a lot of sense for one person to take over and make all the decisions, and then you've got the other person like wondering what's going on and why their opinions aren't being considered or valued. And then my last point here on things to put in are to have those conversations continue with financial date nights. So schedule a time, regularly, maybe each week, maybe a couple times a week, and talk about money and how it's being spent and what you want to do so that you can ensure that you and your partner are on the same page. Okay. So who said financial date nights before? Anyways, so it ultimately comes down to what do you want to accomplish in your life regarding your finances. We've touched on you can pay off debt, you can pay off your home, you could finance vacations, buy yourself a vacation home or investment properties. Maybe you want to buy a yacht one day and travel around the Caribbean. But having those kinds of conversations are going to allow you access to actually achieving them. Because when you share your goals, I don't know what the number is. I can't remember, but statistically, the more you share a goal, the more likely it is to be achieved. So you keep it to yourself. You've got like a 20% chance, and you share it with one person, you're up to 40, I think, something like that. So have those conversations about when you want to retire and what you want to be able to do in retirement, so that you can start to put that plan together. So in terms of creating a plan, the next opportunity that we have, and this happens on the first Tuesday of every month from 6 to 9 p.m., is the Kimbra 411 goal setting. Kimberly, is that a seminar, would you say? Or
no, it's a workshop. Definitely.
There it is.
No seminars at Kimbra.
Right.
It's all
Workshop.
rituals and practices.
Right. And that is led by Kimberly Genovese, who is a certified One Thing trainer and has all of the knowledge and expertise to help you create goals that you can then achieve and that you can work through little by little so that you can break it down into actionable steps. And so that is August 1st, Tuesday, 6 p.m. I'll put that up there again too, like up here somewhere, right? That's thekimbra.com. And on the top, there's the 411, and you can register for the link to that on Zoom. So that's a great opportunity to really sit down and create what those goals are with an expert guiding the way. So from here, right, you've now kind of created hopefully an idea of what your goals are and what you want to accomplish and what all of your expenses are and what your income is. And so there's a couple of different things that you could choose to do to move forward. And the first thing that came to my mind was to create a budget. And so if you want to do a budget, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I did talk with a financial advisor yesterday, and his thoughts were that budgets are like diets. You do them for a couple of months and then you quit. And then all your financial problems come back. But I mean, I think in order to get a sense of like every expense that you have, creating a budget is not a bad exercise. It's going to have you looking for where all of your money goes, right? And you might find out how much you or your partner actually spends on Starbucks in a month, right? And you might be surprised because those things are what, $6 or $7 each now, probably.
Easily.
Depends on what it is.
$5.35.
Kimberly knows exactly.
That's why I see 535, 535, 535.
Right.
CBG can see her at Starbucks. She's on the wall.
Right. Customer of the month.
Just make
Whatever it is,
in.
Kimberly, it's okay, right? The point is that we're getting to what's so. How much is there? And then you can have a conversation about, do you really need to go 50 times a month to Starbucks? I'm not saying that that's what it is, but it could be, right? Like there could be people who actually do that, and you're spending, thousands of dollars a month on coffee where you could make it at home and get the, little syrups and the little machine maybe, and save tons of money and still have the experience, more or less of having Starbucks.
Yeah, if your partner makes it for you, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh, there we go.
Or my sister, she worked at Starbucks, like in the mornings part-time, and she got to bring home all kinds of bags of coffee, like so much coffee that she brought home basically for free. So there's another idea, if you need to make a little extra money and you got a Starbucks problem, combine the two and work at Starbucks.
Get Dawn on that.
It was a problem.
Or make a
I'm
friend.
not saying it's a problem. I'm just saying if you think it is.
Yeah, great idea. Get Dawn
I
for a
like
few hours
this.
on a
Ooh,
Saturday.
I like this.
Yeah, Dawn would be able to do
An
that.
hour a week,
Yeah, a couple hours a week, one or
I'm
2 days a
in.
week.
It would stress me out. They're very busy.
Well, you'll
Right.
learn quick then.
What's that, Steve?
You'll learn quick if they're very busy. Yeah,
Right.
You'll get up to speed very quickly.
So there's a couple of ways you could create that budget. I think in Excel or like a Google sheet, spreadsheet would work. I have the Mint app, which is free. It's from Intuit, and it allows you to put all that in there, and then it will give you alerts when you're spending 2.9% more on home improvement, like it gave me the other day. I got this warning, you're spending more than you usually do on home improvement. So it kind of,
What are we doing?
I have no idea. I mean, 2.9% isn't very alarming.
What did we do?
You were going to Home Depot and buying chips.
Yeah, you're trying to
What
get
did
it
we
under
do?
the wire.
What did we
I have
do?
no idea. I'm just telling you. It gave me an alert,
No.
2.9% more, not alarming. 209% more, probably alarming, right?
I don't see 2.9%.
It's in the trunk. He isn't taking it out. Yeah, he's waiting for you to go to sleep.
All right, so there is another approach, and it seems pretty cool to me, and I've got a minute video, but basically instead of having a budget, you create different accounts that your money flows into. And so you've got one checking account for all of your fixed expenses, like your mortgage and your utilities and your car payments and your insurance, the things that are pretty much the same every month. And then you have a budget for that. And then you have the other money for your discretionary spending that goes into another account. And when you don't spend all of that money, it goes into different places. So I know that was probably not a great explanation. And so I'm just going to play the video here. And it's at the end. We don't want it at the end. We want it at the beginning.
Oh, it's 1 minute and 11 seconds.
The way you spend and save today is a grind. Keeping day-to-day cash in checking accounts, funneling earnings in and saving what's left when you can. Accumulation takes time and effort. Currents is here to change that. We're a money management platform that reroutes how you spend and save to unlock the potential of your cash flow. By putting savings first and moving all available cash through a central FDIC-insured account called a reservoir, Currents helps you choose how you spend, seamlessly collaborate with your financial professional, and save up to 600% more than the national average. The system is easy to set up. Just input the cash flowing in and schedule what needs to go out, allowing every extra dollar to accumulate automatically. Soon, it all runs on autopilot. With more control and savings, you can focus on creating new passive income streams to achieve financial freedom faster. It's really that simple. Currents. LiveCurrents.com.
Lots of plumbing.
Mm-hmm. I like that it's 1 minute and 11 seconds.
Yeah.
I noticed that too, Kimberly.
Oh, awesome.
So, so Jason Mickey, he's currently the Team 1 team leader for the Team Management and Leadership Program, and he's a financial advisor. He was going to be here tonight to help with this a little bit, but he had something else come up that he had to go and do. But the idea here is like that main reservoir account is going to hold on to your, 6 months of expenses. And then all the money that goes into there then starts to flow into the other areas where your monthly fixed expenses can just be on autopilot because they're basically the same every month. And then you don't have to worry about all of your things getting paid. You're just worried about the discretionary things like going out to eat, right? The things that would vary, saving for vacation. And so you really can get a sense then, having those in separate accounts where the money's going, without being cluttered up with, paying the gas bill and the electric and the insurance and all the other things. So I thought that that was a really cool thing. And, that website, livecurrents.com, you could check it out or, get some more information about that. Another thing, and I know, see, we're running out of time here. There are other ways that you can tackle things. And it really just depends on your risk tolerance, how much, you want to accomplish and what you're working with. If you've got, I would say some smaller credit card debts, it may work best just to do a balance transfer to something with a 0% offer where you're paying 3 to 5% upfront, but you've got 0% for the next 12 to 18 months. And then really just getting rid of that interest portion of it. You can divide what the balance is by 12 or 18. And, if that's something that's manageable, you get that paid off in that amount of time. You could sell plasma for extra income. Sure.
Kidney.
Yeah. Maybe not the kidney. I don't think that's quite so legal.
In this country.
Peanut
gallery is
Sell for that
really
one.
active
Right.
tonight.
It is active tonight. There
Love
are
boat
also
is rocking tonight. The boat's rocking. Boats are rocking. Don't come a knocking.
You get like 500 for plasma, don't you?
no, it's like 75, I think.
You put that towards your debt. You do it every week.
You can do plasma a couple times a week, but that's besides the point.
Well,
Okay, so what I learned tonight is I need to go work at Starbucks and give a plasma. Okay,
for
got
free
it.
coffee
Check.
and give plasma for extra cash. Yeah.
and
While you're drinking the coffee.
There's always 2.9% over budget.
Right.
Probably
if
He
you have
is walking backwards.
tools, it
if
is
you have a
true.
lot of debt, a debt reduction specialist might be the way to go. And so, we have access to a company that if you have more than $7,500 in debt, could be a good fit for you. If you're just drowning in it, right? And you don't see any way to get out of it. Just having it go away, and getting it structured into a payment plan that does work. And basically with that, they're going to take a, $1,000 a month payment, negotiate it down to, hopefully $400 or $500 and have you getting that paid off in 12 to 24 months. The last thing I would recommend, and I've listened to Dave Ramsey in the past and read the book, but the Financial Peace University has 7 baby steps to get you from in debt to financially free. And I'll hit them real fast here. The first one is get $1,000 emergency fund. that would be the way to stop using the credit cards for those little emergencies that pop up, like you need new tires on your car, or some other thing happens. You got to bail your spouse out of jail for doing something bad out there.
Selling kidneys on the black market.
Right.
Let's not all look at Steve now.
I would also at this point recommend life insurance as a way to protect you and your family. Because you don't want to get into a situation where you're drowning in debt, something happens to one of you, and now you're drowning in more debt and unable to get out of it. So, a term life insurance policy is relatively inexpensive and can be maybe part of the solution until you get to the point where you can afford to do something a little bit more long-term that also has some investment possibilities. And so I just wanted to put that out there with the disclaimer that I am a life insurance producer, and I'd love to help you with all of your insurance needs. So the debt snowball is the second part of the Dave Ramsey's plan. And basically debt snowball means you're going to take the smallest debt, or the one with the smallest monthly payment. You're going to pay that one off first. So if that was like $100 a month minimum payment, what you've now done by paying that one off is you've taken that $100 a month that was going to that debt, and now you can apply it to paying off another one faster. So that you'd go to the next biggest one, or maybe the one with the highest interest rate. That's really kind of up to you. But the goal is to keep chipping away and taking small wins along the way, and small wins turn into bigger wins until you've gotten yourself out of debt. So that's kind of the idea there. Once you've gotten that done, like Steve and Kimberly shared, get yourself to 6 months of expenses in a fully funded emergency fund. Make sure that has you, protected against any layoffs or, illnesses that would have your income stop coming in for a period of time. Once you've got the emergency fund, what Dave Ramsey recommends and what we saw in that other first video was to invest 15% of your income into retirement. So that could be 401k, it could be IRAs, it could be annuities, or, indexed life insurance kinds of products. But the goal there is to really be able to look out for your future and be able to maintain your standard of living at a point where you want to retire or have to retire, right? Hopefully everybody gets to the point where they can choose to retire. Step 5 is to save for your children's college education. Notice saving for college came after retirement. You don't want to be robbing from your future to fund your kids' education. Number 6 is pay off your home early. A couple quick ways to do that would be buy monthly payments. That will get you extra payment every year because you're making 26 payments of half of the amount versus 12 payments. So you get a little bit more there. Or if you do one extra payment a year, either one of those tends to knock off about a year of payments at the end of your mortgage. And that can save off thousands and thousands of dollars of interest. And once your house is paid off, right, and you don't have a mortgage payment, which is typically 25 to 35% of your income, then you've got all that extra money to save or spend or do whatever you want. And that's the last step, is just to build wealth and give money to charities or whoever you want, right? Because at that point you have financial freedom. You're not tied to any debt. You're not being dragged down by housing payments or anything else, and everything can start to work. So that's our overview of the steps, different ways that you can tackle your financial differences with your partner, or set yourself up for your time together to go easily in terms of finances by being open in communication, creating that plan. Get help if you need it. I would say, for most people, you got into your current situation for a reason, and it's because you didn't know what you don't know and you need help, right? So hire an expert or invest with someone who can give you all those other parts of getting out of debt. And there's lots of different ways to do it. I wouldn't say any way is better than any of the others, particularly, and it's up to you. But stay accountable to your goals and create those goals, stick to them. And if you are diligent and do what you need to do, you're going to really see your financial picture start to change. And changing that financial picture will reduce, like we talked about in the beginning, all of the stresses that come up in marriages and relationships related to money. And then you can fight about other things like where to go for dinner. Or on vacation.
Maybe you can't afford dinner.
Well, if you've done everything, you can definitely afford to go wherever you want to go.
White
Right.
Castle.
So 2 challenges for this week. The first one is going to be to go ahead and attend that 411 event with Kimbra on Tuesday, August 1st. If you can't make that one, it is the first Tuesday of every month at thekimbra.com. You can go check that out. The second is to start the conversation with your partner and start creating your financial plan that will have you achieving whatever goals that you have for yourselves inside of travel, retirement, whatever those things are that would make you and your spouse or partner happy, and just start taking those actions so that you and your future self will thank you. Any questions or comments about what we got today? And I acknowledge we're a couple minutes past 8 o'clock here. And I think
I just wanted to remind everyone they can go to crackmycode.com/freedom group to crack their codes so that they can speak into the values of their spouse. And if they have questions about that, they can connect with Steve or myself, Vicki, and we will be happy to answer those questions on how you can better communicate with one another around your finances.
Perfect. Yeah, so magicmoneyandleverage.com has links to all of these things as well, and how you can reach out and ask for guidance or help or whatever it is that you're looking for. So thank you, Vicki. Thank you, Kimberly and Steve. Thank you, Eris and Ashley and April. And we got Natasha, who was off my screen earlier.
That's awesome.
For joining us tonight, and I appreciate you being here and participating, and look forward to seeing you next week and having you take some actions that will really make a difference for you and for your relationship. So thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you everyone for watching the recording and sharing it with all of your friends. It will be on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. So you can comment there, what actions you took, and share away with everybody who you think could benefit from getting this information.
Hey, Steve, I just want to put in that Natasha is my sister-in-law, and I'm happy that she's here.
That's awesome.
To join us, and she is super amazing, and I love her very much. So I wanted to let everybody else know who she is.
Awesome.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank
All right.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you,
That's
Steve.
everything for
Good to see
today.
you all.
Have a great night, and we'll see you next Thursday at 7 o'clock at this same Zoom line.
Same bat channel.
Yep, same bad time.
Bye.
Bye. It's the love boat.
Oh, Vicki knows this whole song.
Go, Vicki.
Another round.
Go, Vicki. Go, Vicki.
I want to be Julie. Can